Hey everybody, it's Guy here. It's Friday, January the 9th, and I just want to file a quick report. I'm not able to do Facebook Lives at the moment. I'm under a 2-month suspension. I think I'm about 6 weeks into it, 5 weeks, I'm not sure. This video would reach a lot of people if it was a Facebook Live, but Facebook reached back to 2024 and they found a very innocuous meme that I posted and used it as an excuse to take away a bunch of my privileges, including recording Facebook Lives. So I'm recording this on my laptop and I'll upload it to YouTube and then I'll share it from there. And hopefully some of you will share this out. I just wanted to comment about what's happened over the past 2 days in regard to the woman who was shot and killed by the ICE agents. I'm not going to get into the specifics here. I don't want to record this video to do a detailed analysis of that. I've posted a couple of entries about it, one in which I invited people to remove themselves from my Facebook list if they felt that woman deserved to be killed. And another one following up on that that substantiated my position on the matter. And that was the one where a retired police officer explained in detail how the ICE agents were completely outside of their jurisdiction on the matter. And I don't just mean they're outside of their geographic jurisdiction. They actually had no legal right whatsoever to do anything that they did, including stopping that woman and the car. You have to understand, this is as much detail as I'll get into, that in case you haven't read that post from that police officer, ICE agents have to have a warrant from a judge that says you can go after a specific criminal. Maybe it's an illegal immigrant, maybe it's a drug dealer, but they can go after and apprehend a specific person that they're authorized to go after. They're not allowed to go out in public and stop cars and stop citizens and brandish weapons. Imagine, they're out there wearing masks over their faces, generating volatile situations, amping things up. And one detail that people have to understand is it is also against their orders to stand in front of a vehicle that is in drive. Do you understand that? They're not allowed to do that. You can't say, oh, the woman was using her car as a weapon. First of all, I think she was looking the other way, and you want to know the reason for that? It's not just because the officers are putting themselves in peril. It's because officers have a pattern of standing in front of vehicles in drive to provide for themselves an excuse to shoot the driver. It's such a widespread pattern that the police authorities had to pass a rule telling officers you're not allowed to do that. And something like that happened. Now, a lot of people have told me off about my post, but they didn't read it properly. They didn't read it carefully enough. I didn't say that you had to agree that with with what the woman did or didn't do. What I said was, if you are able to read the details of this case and conclude that the woman deserved to be shot, then I don't want anything to do with you. I wasn't saying you had to agree with her decision. I think she made a mistake. I mean, obviously. That's not the point. What I was saying is, if you're the kind of person that looks at this situation and concludes, yeah, you know, that dumb bitch, she deserved what she got. You mess with the police, and then you deserve whatever happens to you. If you're that incapable of analysis and critical thinking, then you can follow me. You can comment on my posts, but I'm capped at 5,000 friends, like we all are. And I'm always really at my limit or close to it. And I would rather free up some space, which has happened over the past couple of days. I'd rather have a couple of spots open for people who have better analytical skills and are more aligned with my values. So please understand that's where I was coming from. I wasn't saying you had to agree with certain details of the case, which we can debate. But I guess the point that I want to share a couple of points. One is, I just want to share my feeling with those of us who were shocked and appalled by all of this. I appreciate those of you who reached out and have a compassionate point of view, and we're not just belligerent. And I think a lot of us are in a state of shock, not just about that incident, but that so many people in the truth and freedom community who understood things like the true nature of the medical procedure, I'll just call it that, would suddenly become bootlickers for authority. And some of the comments I'm seeing out there are unbelievable. And from influencers, some very prominent influencers whose work I generally have enjoyed, are saying things like, oh, well, she had a gay wife, or she was a liberal, or she was paid to protest. And like, this has no bearing whatsoever on what we're talking about. Oh, she was out there harassing the police. She was going from place to place. So what? I've done that. What do you think I've been doing for the past 5 years? I've done everything to be a thorn in the side of the authorities. And if I was at an intersection and somebody wearing a mask, brandishing a gun, came at me in a threatening situation, and I saw a couple of cars take off and get out of there, I might want to do the same thing myself. Yes, maybe it would be a mistake, but I can see myself doing it. Anyway, I said I wouldn't get into the details of the case, and I've said more than I intended to. I just want to share that emotionally and psychologically, it's been a very taxing couple of days. Clearly, our movement is divided, and there are a lot of people whose attitudes have just been very disappointing and very shocking. And this leads to my other point that I want to make, and then I'm going to shut this down, which is simply this. The overarching concern here is not that the United States and other countries, but let's just talk about the US for now, are poised to descend into fascism. Folks, we're already there. The United States now is indistinguishable from countries and I studied history in university. I'm not an expert, but I remember learning about France and Spain under Franco and and Italy under Mussolini. I mean, this was the kind of stuff Ernest Hemingway used to talk about when he lived in Spain. And we're there. We're fully there. But it's not going to end at fascism. We're moving toward totalitarianism. The plan of the New World Order is quite articulate. If you haven't looked into it as I have, you have to understand the plan is very detailed. And it includes, excuse me, that the world, they have a map, and the world will be divided into 10 zones or kingdoms, generally mapping on top of whole continents. So in North America, there still might be a Mexico, a United States, and a Canada, but they will function much as states or provinces do. They will not be separate nation states or countries. And it's going to be controlled by AI. It's going to be an AI-controlled dystopia. And there won't be money, there'll be credits. And it will all be tied to social credit scores, all the stuff that Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum talks about. And the leader of China and the leader of Russia and the leader of the United States are all working for those globalist forces. And it's just a pantomime that they're fighting each other. And there may actually be, and I think there will be, a world war, but it's not because these countries genuinely want to destroy each other. They have to destabilize everything and engage in massive destruction in order to introduce the new order. Remember, and I don't know why so many people have forgotten this, the Hegelian dialectic. You generate a problem in order to create a reaction, and then you bring in the solution. You know, Israel does this all the time. They attack themselves, so they have an excuse to come in and do things they planned to do in the first place. This is not a left-right thing. The whole left-right paradigm is garbage. A lot of people have accused me of being a liberal in the past 2 days. I'm not a liberal, and I'm also not a conservative. I can't be classified by that. I don't play that game. That's the game they want us to play. That's the whole conquer and divide. You know, it's very clear to me, the controllers, as I call them, had Biden flood the country with immigrants in order to create destabilization and upset people, so that then Trump could come in and have a reason to create a Gestapo, which is what ICE is, and get the support of many people in the public, because they keep saying, oh, but he's dealing with those immigrants that the Democrats brought in. Don't you see how you're being played? This is the Hegelian dialectic. The reason the country was flooded with immigrants wasn't that Biden loved immigrants. It was to create a crisis for which Trump is providing the solution, which is to create an authoritarian surveillance state. Can you not see that? And now, I hate to tell you this, but this action with ICE, which I think was to some extent deliberately planned, it was stoked up. They knew something like this would happen. It's because this is the beginning of a reign of terror. And you remember that I said this on this date. This is the beginning of a reign of terror. And if you look at the history of Joseph Stalin in Ukraine and Russia, this is how they did it. This is a repetition. And they make anti-Semitism the law. They make a big deal of that. That happened in the Soviet Union. So we're being played. And the point is, like a lot of you, I'm shocked and disappointed at how many people in the Truth and Freedom movement, as I call it, I would have thought would have seen through this. And to see so many of them become belligerent and fall prey to this, like defending authority and defending police brutality, it's unbelievable. So you remember, we need to start getting very smart now and very careful not to jump to conclusions and to be very suspicious of authority. Well, I'm kind of rambling now. This is not one of my best videos. I'm quite upset. I'm very disappointed. I'm in a bit of a state of shock, frankly. I've lost a lot of my confidence in our ability to successfully oppose what's happening. From what I've seen with people I was depending on to be part of our movement, to see them switch over to apologizing for literally a Gestapo, a Stasi, which is what it is, in the beginning of a reign of terror. So I don't really have any more to say right now. I'll have more to say in the coming days. I'll let you all know when I'm able to do Facebook Lives again, because I'll do a Facebook Live. So thank you for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next report. Hopefully I'll have better things to talk about.